President Trump is the first sitting president to address the NRA since Ronald Reagan in 1983. Colion Noir is a gun rights activist and member of the NRA. He was at the convention and is here to weigh in. Good morning, sir. So what do you were there in the audience. Give us a sense of the reaction to the president addressing the NRA.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. And by and large, it was celebratory. I think for years now, like he mentioned, we've been relegated to talking about the Second Amendment as if we were advocates for sex trafficking or something. And so now we get to talk about the Second Amendment as the constitutional right that it is. And I think it's incredibly important for not only the members who were there at the annual meetings, but all of Americans to understand the importance of the Second Amendment. And knowing that we have somebody now in the White House who's a champion of that constitutional right is very invigorating.
Colin, you say that the gun environment, the gun group, the community is far more diverse than it's given credit for. What do you think is the biggest misconception when people talk about the NRA?
Well, I think by and large, like there's been a picture that's been painted for decades that going to the annual meetings of the gun community is consistent of nothing but old white men who are racist, looking to hang any black person or any minority that they come across. But yet, over the years that I've been going to the annual meetings and been in this gun community, I've seen an increasing number of minorities, even transgendered individuals, who are now who feel more empowered about coming out and talking about their passion for the Second Amendment. Because I think for the longest part, we've kind of relegated it to being something that's taboo, that you're not allowed to talk about. And if you do talk about it, you're not considered a true minority, or you're not considered a true American. But yet we're talking about a constitutional right here.
Do you get a hard time when you ever talk about, your support for guns?
Absolutely. I mean, coming up, I've been doing this for years now, and throughout that process, I have encountered people who question my motivation and why I would be an advocate for firearms. But when it all comes down to it, I mean, I'm an American individual, whether I'm black, white, green, orange, whatever, what have you. And I think it's incredibly important that we empower people in this country to be able to protect themselves, but then also to enjoy the Second Amendment and the joy that it provides us as individuals, whether it be competition shooting, whether it be recreational shooting.
Sure. And
so I've gotten some of that blowback in some regards, but then there are a lot of people on the other side who champion it.
Absolutely. Colion, going forward, what's the one thing or a few things you'd really like to see this president do to advance the cause of the Second Amendment?
The most important thing for me, I think, is national reciprocity. I think the ability for me to have a concealed carry license from one state and then be allowed for that license to be recognized throughout the country is incredibly important. I'm in no less danger in my home state than I am when I travel to a different state. I would argue maybe even more so, because I'm not familiar with different territories and different states that I travel to the way that I am in my home state, which is why I like to also pick up the idea of Carry Guard, that is essentially a product that the NRA has recently put out, where we advance the idea of responsible gun ownership as well as responsible concealed carry members.
Well, it's great to get your perspective this morning, Colion Noir. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, sir.